What's happening, troops? Welcome back to GAC Football. It's been too bloody long since I've done anything football related, or even GAC related, to be honest, because I've been putting a lot of focus into my latest venture, Itchy Tasty, which you can see just below me. My little picture that I made to show that I do something else as well, which is more to do with horror and spooky video games and stuff like that, and Resident Evil. So if you're into anything like that, where I just chat about that sort of stuff and play some games, then check it out. It's mainly a podcast, but I'm quite active on X as well, and I'm putting stuff up on YouTube as well. But if you're sticking with GAC, which I advise you do over the next, over a month, once the Euros starts, Euro 2024. This is my first video for it, basically. I want to get as much European Championships content out as much as I can. Get as much as I can. In the lead up to the Euros and during the Euros, so I'm gonna get into doing watch-alongs. I want to do a predictions video, which I've had a lot of hassle doing recently. I've had to remake it twice, and it's still not worked out for me. So I'm gonna give it one more go, maybe a bit nearer to the competition starting, because kind of the reasons of what I'm going to go over in this video, the England squad. I want to wait for like all the squads to be announced so I can see who's playing, who does play for who, and then it'll give me a better idea of which teams I think will do well when I do a whole tournament prediction, basically, like I did in the World Cup. Was it the World Cup? Euros? World Cup, because I predicted Argentina would win. Look at me go. So yeah, there's that, and then like I say, during the competition, going to be doing watch-alongs. We'll do like ratings after videos. I probably won't do any England watch-alongs. I am an England supporter, unfortunately. It's always a bitter time during tournaments supporting England. It's very difficult. It always has been difficult. For 32 years, it's been difficult. But I've always watched England with my old man, with my dad. So I will continue that trend. We always go to his house, have a good chill, shout at England, shout at the telly, shout at the players, shout at Southgate especially. And so I'm going to do watch-alongs for a load of other games, like some of the bigger ones. The opening game will be the first one, Germany-Scotland, Friday evening. At 8 o'clock, you can see it just up there, my little frame that I've made. I still want to tweak a little bit. I want to make it animate, kind of Sky Sports style. But yeah, you can see the first wad of fixtures, all the team's first games to my left. Your right, even. My left, your right. And yeah, it'll be a bit random which ones I do watch-alongs for, but, it's all part of the fun. I'll just jump on and people can join in and just chat footy with me, chat rubbish, chat gack, basically. So, yeah, this is my reaction, better late than never, to the England provisional squad for the lead up to the Euros. I believe we actually have. I'm going to do a quick unprofessional check now. I believe I read we've got a couple of friendlies in the build-up to the Euros. England friendlies before Euros. Good Google search there. Which I didn't know. I thought it was just, once the season's over, a bit of a break for everyone, and then it's the Euros. But clearly not. Because the season's not completely over. There's still an FA Cup final next week. Come on, United. Definitely not going to do it. And then, yeah, I think I found it. Blimey. Have we got that many games? No. June 20, Jesus. No, okay, yeah, okay. Completely read it wrong. I'm used to seeing the flags, and everything I've made, I've used the national flags, and then the actual website shows the international crests that they wear on there, like the 3 lines for England. God, I completely forgot what I was going on about, and it's just lost. I've just lost it. But anyway, I was right. There's a couple of friendlies. So England are playing Bosnia and Herzegovina on the 3rd of June. So week after next? No, next week. Next week, I think. At St James's Park in Newcastle. And then we've got another friendly against Iceland. The mighty Iceland, who did us over in 2016, I think it was. That was appalling. At Wembley. And that is the last friendly before the Euros begins, before we open our campaign against Serbia. So the squad was announced yesterday. I was in work, working very hard whilst listening to TalkSport and keeping an eye on Sky Sports News, because I wanted to know what Southgate going to do. And I've got it up here and I can bring it up for you guys as well. So there we go. This is the provisional squad for the Euros. So it's not the final squad. It's not the cut and dry, this is who's going to Germany to potentially bring football home for us England fans. So we'll start with the goalkeepers. I'll name them all. Should I name them? No, I'm gonna go through each group and I'll give my thoughts. So you got Dean Henderson of Crystal Palace, formerly of Manchester United, and Nottingham Forest. Jordan Pickford of Everton, Aaron Ramsdale of Arsenal, James Trafford of Burnley. I think this is one of our weaker areas, along with defence. I think we don't have the strongest group of goalkeepers. I think we've got really decent shot stoppers. I really like Dean Henderson, Pickford, Ramsdale. I don't know much about James Trafford, to be honest. I've only seen him a couple of times. I like the other three as shot stoppers. I think they are all really good goalkeepers in that sense. And the obvious choice, bring me back up. I think the obvious choice is clearly Pickford. He plays the most regular out of all of them, apart from Dean Henderson. James Trafford hadn't played for Burnley towards the end of the season, I don't think. Not that I keep a close eye on Burnley, but I knew he got dropped by Company at one point. And Aaron Ramsdale doesn't play for Arsenal anymore. That's David Raya's place. So them two, he must cull at least one of them before the Euros. At least one. I think you would take three keepers. That's what I'd do anyway. And it's a toss-up. You could either drop Ramsdale or James Trafford for me, but Dean Henderson and Pickford have to go, simply because they're regular starters for their clubs. And Pickford, I did watch Arsenal against Everton last game of the season. Pickford, he pulled off a lot of decent saves, and ultimately he did concede two, but Arsenal just kind of bombarded Everton, didn't they? And eventually got the better of them. My issue with all the goalkeepers is they don't look like they can kick a ball properly. So it doesn't worry me too much, because if I was in charge of England, I would just try and make sure that the ball doesn't go anywhere near them, because our midfielders and our forward players are so strong. I would just put all the emphasis on them. I wouldn't do this fanning about at the back malarkey with England. I don't think the players are strong enough. But yeah, that's what I would do anyway. Then we've got the defenders. So we've got Jared Branthwaite of Everton, Lewis Dunk of Brighton, Joe Gomez of Liverpool, Mark Gay of Crystal Palace, Ezri Konsa of Aston Villa, Harry Maguire of Manchester United, Jarl Kwanzaa of Liverpool, Luke Shaw of Manchester United, John Stones of Manchester City, Kieran Trippier of Newcastle United, and Kyle Walker of Manchester City. So how many have we got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 defenders. It makes for nicer reading than some previous tournaments where Gareth Southgate's been in charge and he's taken about 8 right backs for whatever reason. It's good to see quite a few younger, inexperienced. He's removing some of the old guard. I noticed Ben Chilwell isn't there. I could have done with bringing up a page showing the people that haven't made it. Some of the old guard that he would normally bring. But I know Ben Chilwell's not there. Reece James isn't there. Surprised to see Luke Shaw, but I think that's just maybe a lack of options, possibly. Good to see Giles Branthwaite. He's had a good season for Everton. Young lad. Lewis Dunk's really good. Just pretty steady. He's steady Eddie like Harry Maguire, isn't he? Joe Gomez is really good. Arguably Liverpool's best centre-back, if you ask me. Mark Gade's always been a steady, good option at the back for Crystal Palace, and they've done really well, end of the season particularly. Ezri Konsa, who a lot of people sort of see as the next, one of, if not the next main English centre-back of Aston Villa, also had an amazing season. Harry Maguire, steady Eddie, he is what he is. Joao Kwanzaa has had a good breakout season for Liverpool. It's a good opportunity for him, potentially, if he makes it to the final squad. Luke Shaw, like I said, I'm surprised he's there. Massive injury croc, and he's probably not going to be fit enough for the Euros anyways. He shouldn't be playing for Man United anymore. And I don't think he'll make the cut, to be honest. John Stones is John Stones. Kieran Trippier is Kieran Trippier, and Kyle Walker is Kyle Walker. Trippier and Walker especially are sort of starting to reach that age now where we should be looking for the next things for, the next Trippier, the next Walker, which is what I'm hoping. Your Kwanzaa and Konsa. Wow, that Konsa, Branthwaite. So the youth is there, and it's good to see. I've always said, anytime I talk about England with people, I honestly don't care who Southgate chooses for the back, because I like the forward line, the midfielders, so much that as long as we put all the emphasis on them, just let them do what they do, then we needn't really worry about the defence and the goalkeeper, because I think this England team has the capabilities to be arguably the most entertaining team to watch, because it should just be a case of they'll just outscore everyone. That's my view on it. I'll get into it more when I've finished naming the squad and I get to the midfield and the forward line more to emphasise on my point. But I'll keep going. So we'll go through the midfielders, of which there are a ton by the look of it. So you've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's not even a midfielder, but fair enough, of Liverpool. Jude Bellingham of Real Madrid. Conor Gallagher of Chelsea. Curtis Jones of Liverpool. Kobe Mainoo of Manchester United. Declan Rice of Arsenal. And Adam Wharton of Crystal Palace. Seems like not much to choose from, which makes me think that Southgate is going to keep the midfield quite minimal, if you know what I mean, quite compact, just quite narrow possibly. Because you can, Jude Bellingham, I would say Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice are the obvious starters. It's just who would you have alongside either Declan Rice at the back holding, or Jude Bellingham as a more advanced player. I'm obviously, as a Man United fan, I would love to see Kobe Mainoo getting a starting opportunity for England. I don't think he will. And there's also that other part of me that wants him to be left alone a little bit. I'm happy for Kobe Mainoo to be a sub-impact player. Not that that's his game. He's not a massive impact player. He helps control the midfield. He's ice cold, whichever way. He's just the calmest footballer when you watch him. He knows exactly, for someone so young and still inexperienced, he has complete control of the midfield when he's playing. So I would love to see him getting a chance, but I'd also love for him to be left alone for Man United next season. I just don't want him getting blown out, because he's been relied upon too much for Man United this season. Trent Alexander-Arnold, I've always said I have no issues with him playing in midfield. Whether it's, a wider role. I don't think I would trust him in the centre. I don't think he's um, what's the word? I don't want to say competent enough, but just he shouldn't be relied upon in the middle of the field. He's able to make the odd mistake or the odd misplaced pass, when he goes for his wonder balls on the wing. So I would have him on the side, on the right hand side, ahead of maybe whoever's going to Kyle Walker, whoever's going to be the right back for England. I've got no issue with that. Jude Bellingham's Jude Bellingham, isn't he? We don't really need to say much about Jude. It is a massive opportunity for him to showcase what he's all about, isn't it? In front of the world stage now, European stage, but it's basically the world that's going to watch it, isn't it? And he arguably he's the best player in the world, and this is his chance to prove it. Conor Gallagher, I really like Conor Gallagher, but I don't think he's like anywhere near that elite level that we should be having in the England midfield. But in terms of just someone who's going to come in and do a job, I like Conor Gallagher, so I'd like for him to be maybe an impact sub. But he can prove me wrong, can't he? He can prove me wrong. I like him, but like I expect a bit more from Conor Gallagher. Curtis Jones, I'm not a Liverpool fan. I don't watch him that often, but every time I see him play, he seems very confident. Doesn't make too many mistakes. Seems like a typical sort of Gareth Southgate, what Gareth Southgate would like. Doesn't take many chances. Just I don't want to say a run-of-the-mill midfielder, but he's given his job and he will just do that job to a good standard, and it might do us, but we might need a little bit more in this tournament. But possibly a good squad player. Kobe Mainoo basically went through Kobe Mainoo already. Declan Rice has to start alongside or behind whatever Jude Bellingham. Him and Jude have to be the obvious starters. He's more or less transformed Arsenal this season. Gave them that little bit of something they didn't quite have last season. And come up with a few last minute goals for him to earn him 3 points. And yeah, there's not much more you can say about Declan Rice, is there? He is what he is. And then Adam Wharton, I've not really heard of him, so I don't watch Crystal Palace much, apart from when they're pummeling Man United. You guys can tell me, let me know, is Adam Wharton a worthy addition to the England squad? But it is nice to see. I like it when we get these inexperienced youngsters. I'm guessing he's not about 32, but I like it when we get these inexperienced youngsters who might get a chance in a big tournament. But I think the likelihood is he's probably going to get cold, isn't he? And then we'll quickly go through the forwards. So one last time, we've got Jared Bowen of West Ham United, Eberechi Eze, hope I've not ruined that name there, Crystal Palace, Phil Foden of Manchester City, Anthony Gordon of Newcastle United, Jack Grealish of Manchester City, Harry Kane of Bayern Munich, James Maddison of Tottenham Hotspur, Cole Palmer of Chelsea, Bukayo Saka of Arsenal, Ivan Toney of Brentford, and Ollie Watkins of Aston Villa. These guys should be the reason that England should go on to win the tournament. Should. Mega, massive should. There's some I really like here. Some I would also consider midfielders or wingers rather than forwards, which is probably why the midfield group looks so small. Like Jared Bowen, is he more of a winger? I don't really know. I don't watch West Ham enough. I don't analyse Jared Bowen enough. But he always seems to make an impact when he plays, so I'm more than happy to have Jared Bowen in the team. Etsy, it's such a shame Elise is not part of it as well. I know he's French, but he's also he is eligible to play for England at the minute, and it is such a shame that Southgate didn't give it a go, because the French team didn't bother with him. So I feel sorry for Elise because he seems like a special player. Alongside Etsy as well. Etsy, who I've watched for a couple of years. He's stood out like a sore thumb for Palace a couple of years ago, and I'm really surprised he's still there, to be honest. But I'm really happy with him being in the squad. Phil Foden, player of the season in the Premier League, well deserved. He is an outstanding talent. Him and Jude Bellingham are arguably the two best players in the world at the minute, for everything that they're doing with their clubs. And he has to build a time. Southgate has to build a team around Phil Foden. He has to play him every game. He has to play as many minutes as he can. He shouldn't ever be subbed off, really, unless he has a stinker. But Phil Foden's so talented, I don't think he's capable of having a stinker in the tournament. I do really like him. It's a shame he plays for Man City. Anthony Gordon of Newcastle United, another one of these up-and-coming youngsters, along with another one that's coming up afterwards. Anthony Gordon is a very talented young player. Possibly has a bit of an attitude problem, judging by some of the things that have happened this season. But he always seems to turn it on when he needs to. He knows where the goal is. He knows how to finish. He's clearly not going to start for England, but I hope he gets a couple of chances and he could make an impact in certain games when we need that little bit something else. Jack Grealish, Man City, we all know about Jack Grealish. Could start for England. I'd be surprised because he doesn't start very regular at Man City anymore. Jeremy Doku seems to have taken his place. And I think Jack could do with a move away from City, to be honest, so he can get regular starts for someone. Harry Kane of Bayern Munich, very high chance he's going to be the top scorer of the tournament. He's got these back issues that he's dealing with at the minute. He got taken off early in the semi-final of the Champions League by Tuchel, and it was because of his back apparently, and it possibly cost him the game. Hopefully it's not that bad and he'll be fine for when the tournament starts. But even then, we've got a good backup that I'm going to be mentioning a little later on. James Maddison, again, I would consider him more of a midfielder than a forward. But there's no denying his talent. He's a really good player. Can sometimes go missing. Does sometimes have a tendency to make a meal of a lot of, little fouls and things like that. And he can give you an irritating game like that sometimes, but he can also just turn it on and look like an unbelievable player sometimes. So hopefully we get that James Maddison. Cole Palmer. Nobody knew who Cole Palmer was start of the season. Now everyone knows about Cole Palmer. Proper goal scorer. Good provider as well. He's going to be no doubt one of the higher names when it comes to goals and assists in this tournament. I'd happily put money on that. He has to get opportunities. I can see Southgate benching him for the first maybe couple games, and then he'll probably bring him on in those games. He'll do something in both games, and he'll end up getting a start, and he will be a starter for the rest of the tournament for England. I would also put money on that. He seems like a very talented boy, and I would love for Man United to sign him next season. That would be lovely. Bukayo Saka, hot take, possibly controversial. I think Saka's massively overrated. I think we've got better players than Saka. I think Saka's obviously really good. He does get the goals and he gets assists for Arsenal. But every time I seem to watch him, he seems to go missing. Whether that's just the way it works out for whenever I watch an Arsenal game. But he just doesn't seem to have a lot of fight in him sometimes. He's not the strongest player. He's not the fastest player. He's got the talent. He's got the dribbling ability, the passing ability, the scoring. He's got it. I just don't see it enough. Is that just when I watch him? I don't know. I would rather we were playing a Jack Grealish or Cole Palmer, a James Maddison, Etsy, Bowen. I'd rather they all played than Saka. That's just my opinion. we're all entitled to him, but that's just my opinion on Saka. I don't know if I would even take him, but there you go. I need to see everyone who's eligible to play and make a decision then. Ivan Toney. It was good to see he had his lengthy ban and he started the start of the season. And then he came back and he was immediately scoring goals again. He's probably scored more goals than a bunch of other strikers this season who have had half a season head start on him. And he's probably outscored quite a few of them, including quite a lot of Man United players, I'd imagine. So it's good to see him back in the England squad. Hopefully he gets a few chances. And not to mention Ollie Watkins as well of Aston Villa, the last name here. He's had an amazing season for Villa. I think bettered only by Haaland, the amount of goals, and Cole Palmer. I think he was probably about third or fourth in the list for goals and assists. He's had an amazing season for Villa. Again, kind of like Saka. Not that I'm saying he's overrated or anything. And every time I watch Ollie Watkins, he doesn't seem to do much, but he is getting the numbers. Just probably happens to be whenever I don't watch Villa. But I still like him. I respect him as a footballer and what he does, and I hope he gets a few chances for England in this tournament. So that's the provisional England squad, with a bit of my opinion on top as well, sprinkled on top. We can predict who's going to get cold, but I don't know what the number is for the amount of players that can be taken to the Euros. So, but I want to say it's about 23. I got a ping on my phone earlier saying that Scotland have announced their squad as well. I might go through each team and do like little reels or whatever, just to show each squad when the actual Euro squad is announced. It'll be easier for me to go through them with less players. And I'm sure it said that they've announced a 26-man provisional squad. I'm sure England have about 30 plus in that. So Southgate's making it harder for himself, for starters, to call players. But yeah, we'll just have to we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what the official squad is, the official squad announcement for the Euros, and I'll do another video, hopefully a bit fresher when it gets announced. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time. Yesterday I was stuck at work, and then I had family things after work, and then I had to take care of the baby when I got home and get him to bed, and then food. So I wasn't able to do it yesterday. I've got this little window of opportunity today to get this video out, and it'd just be great to hear everyone else's take on the England squad, because I was pleasantly surprised. Like, I was expecting to see Calvin Phillips and Jordan Henderson and Ben Chilwell and all these usual Gareth Southgate names. Marcus Rashford isn't even there. Jadon Sancho's not there. But we'll discuss it more in depth, and I'll try and live stream it as well when the official squad is announced. After next week, my content should be a bit more regular. I should be able to get a few bits out every so often. I'm away all of next week, so there'll be nothing next week. I will probably put a couple things up on X, on Twitter, formerly Twitter, throughout that week, but I'm away on holidays, on a family holiday, so I won't be very active on X. But the Champions League final is going to be on, so I might put a few bits up there. But yeah, I'm just glad to get a bit of Euros content out already. Get to test out my little frame here, my little box, and I still need to make little tweaks to it. But yeah, until then, thanks guys, thanks for listening. That's the England provisional squad. What do you guys think about it? Who are you happy with that's been included? Are you gutted that certain people? Are you actually really gutted that Marcus Rashford didn't make it? Let us know. Let us know your thoughts below. And is Southgate gonna bring football home? Are we going to win the Euros? We shall see. But yeah, until then, check us out on the socials down there. We're on Instagrams at GAC Podcast, on the X at GAC_podcast. And then, obviously, if you're watching this, you're on the YouTube channel. So get subscribing, get liking, hit the notification bell so you know when new stuff is coming up on the YouTubes. And yeah, spread the word. And then down there's Itchy Tasty, my other podcast. So it would be great if you could follow that as well, if you like the spooky stuff. And I'll be back on that after the Euros is finished. So yeah, thanks guys. I shall catch you all very soon. Ta-ra.